Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Revelation 13:18, Webster's Bible Translation. Welcome to our presentation on Red Horse Year 2026, the Antichrist, and 666, number of the beast. 666 is the number of a man, the Antichrist or the beast, formed by his possession of the XY chromosomes, because humans are made of carbon atoms, and this is why 6 is the number of man in the Bible. Now, carbon is the most imperative building component in the human body. This fact is why humans are named to be carbon-based life forms. You've heard in science fiction shows they call them carbon units in Star Trek, for example. You Trekkies know what I mean, or Trekkers. Okay. Now, carbon has an atomic number of 6. Carbon is the 6th element on the periodic table. Red Horse Year's elemental connections from Chinese astrology contain 3 carbon atoms. Now, in the Chinese astrology system, the first element, bǐng, it's called bǐng, that's a Chinese word. It's the 3rd heavenly stem of 10 stems, and that's for 2026 Red Horse Year. Now, bǐng, the heavenly stem, means 3rd, and it means bright, and it means a pedestal, and it has many other meanings, but one of the very important meanings is presence of 3 carbon atoms. That's right, 3 carbon atoms. And what is the atomic number of carbon? That's right, 6. Okay, so 3 carbon atoms gives you 6, 6, 6, and this is 2026. So you see the numbers begin to add up, and the meanings begin to add up, and the meanings begin to unfold. So that indeed does make this a very important year coming up next year, 2026, Red Horse Year, and that's, in Chinese astrology. And the carbon's atomic number is 6. Again, the atomic number is 6. The presence of 3 carbon atoms gives us 666. So you see how this unfolds. Also, there's Wu. So it's bǐng Wu for the elements for the Red Horse Year of 2026. And bǐng Wu is the word in Chinese, and Wu is the earthly branch. It's the 7th earthly branch and the 7th sign in Chinese zodiac, or the 7th seal that is alluded to in the book of Revelation. So understand there's correlations, okay? So Wu is where you get horse from. And then you move to what is the associations with Wu? Wu is, like, you've heard of woo-woo? Maybe they're trying to tell you something. Hour and year of fire horse, and its connection to lethal wives that are dangerous or cruel women. Even it says murderous women, okay? And to meet head on, to meet in battle, the moon and its full phase opposes the sun directly in the sky, a facing stage to go against. So there's a to go against. So you got the 666 in the bǐng, the 3 carbon atoms. You got the speaking about atoms, okay? That goes with atomic energy and nuclear and all of that, okay? And then you have in Wu, or you have the horse, and you have to go against. You have to go against. And dangerous or cruel or murderous women or wives, girlfriends and wives. So and it's the 7th sign. The Chinese zodiac, horse, is the 7th sign. And this is red horse. There's other colors in other Chinese years. There's yellow and green and black and those kind of things. So just understand, this is where you get the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in different colors. That's where it's from. And we have a video we made about that, so check that out. But moving along with this, the fall of man in Genesis 3, where both Eve and Adam were scolded and commanded to leave the Garden of Eden, stems from a very real scientific, biological fact that only includes a woman in her dealings and familial bonds with men, since her ovaries do not fall, while a man's testicles do fall when maturity is reached. Now, that's why the fall of man, when you look at on a Kabbalistic diagram in the Gra array, it's more for women. It hasn't fallen. But with the one that's popular is the man's array. It's the fallen one where the center pillar is fallen down and it pulls the heart out of the throat. When the woman that's speaking from the heart, man is not speaking from the heart because it's pulled down. The heart's pulled down out of the throat. The energy systems are different in men and women. They don't tell you that when they teach you Kabbalah, when they teach you yoga, they don't really tell you that. So women are not really dealing with their own energy bodies. So women need to understand that. Okay. So moving right along with this, the Bible is full of genuine experiences that were understood differently from the comprehensions of modern humans. After all, these biblical legends are actually technological topics found in the Bible from a different time and from ancient languages, Aramaic and that sort of thing. And another example in Genesis 17:9-13, where God commands his servant Abraham to perform circumcision upon every male person in his charge. Now, this is, of course, where the ritual circumcision comes from, that people do perform that are strict in their, like Orthodox people in their Jewish religion, okay? And it's of course from this Genesis 17:9-13, okay? So all the people, all the male individuals were supposed to be circumcised. So God tells Abraham, okay, now you got to go ahead and make a covenant, and you got to circumcise all the males, even the servants. Okay, everybody in your charge, everybody that's in your household, everybody that you take care of has to be circumcised. So this is where it comes from. Now, God's instructions in Genesis 17:12 specifically that as a policy for performing future circumcisions, the operation must be done on the 8th day of the male child's life. Okay, 8 days, as insisted by God, are not due to silly superstition. No, this dictate was obviously arrived at by the Moyle that noticed that the child bled dangerous amounts of blood if the ritual surgery was done prior to the 8th day. I'm sure they figured that out after a while, one would imagine, but you get my point. I mean, obviously that's how they figured this out. Now, and that on the 8th day, the child did not bleed nearly as much, making the procedure safe. Okay. Now, to protect the child, God demanded this law was to be enacted and obeyed. Subsequently, modern science has revealed to humans that on the 8th day, the child begins to produce vitamin K. Vitamin K allows the baby's blood to clot. In modern hospitals, the child is given a vitamin K shot on the first day if the circumcision is not religious. And then they're going to just do the circumcision right after the baby's born, give them the shot in the thigh, and then go ahead and do the circumcision, and then they bandage it, and that's the end of it. It's just on the first day if it's not religious. If it's religious, then they have to wait till the 8th day, and they don't give the shot. You understand, okay? I would imagine, I don't know that they don't give the shot. I'm assuming that, because I worked in the newborn nursery for a while, and I worked in neonatal intensive care for a while too, but I worked in the newborn nursery for a while, and we always gave the babies that the parents wanted just a traditional circumcision, but not religious, just do it because I guess everybody was doing it. You give the shot in the leg, I'd give the baby a shot in the leg, and then I'd assist the doctor, and then I'd bandage it, and that's the end of it on the first day. I would imagine that if they're doing a ritual circumcision on the 8th day, that there would be no need for the shot, and that would indeed be against the ritual of it. I would imagine that would make it not, because you want to let it be the natural forming of the vitamin K as God would have it develop. Naturally, as God would have it develop. That's what I would imagine. I don't know that for a fact, but that's what one would think. Okay, so after the vitamin K injection, the circumcision on the first day, if it's not religious, then after the vitamin K injection, the circumcision can be done at that time, and this procedure protects the life of the infant, the vitamin K. Okay, now regarding, even if you're going to be looking into the year 2026, there's something to understand about the book of Revelation, chapter 13. And that's that regarding the third secret of Fathom. Okay. Father Malachi Martin and others have reported to have thought, when asked in secret in some lectures and during interviews by such hosts as Art Bell, that according to Sister Lucia of Fatima, if you wish to know the truth about the third secret of Fatima, you simply need to read Revelation chapter 13. So Sister Lucia of Fatima said, read Revelation chapter 13 if you want to understand the third secret of Fatima, and you'll understand. Okay, so it's going to be an interesting year. We'll keep you informed. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next time. We'll see you soon.